Hello, welcome to Yin Yoga on this beautiful day. So today we are going to do a few different things. So we're actually going to start off a little bit differently today. We're going to start standing. So we're going to start right off with a dangle, getting into the top parts of the feet here, which is an area we don't often get into. And we'll go into a little bit of a Velocima Squat here too before we do things more traditional on the mat. So props today, I recommend a couple blocks, especially for Velocima. And I will give you some different options to use for Velocima as well. A bolster cushion, other kind of cushion, pillow, you might need that. And maybe some extra blankets as well. We're also going to use a strap today. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this strap, and I'm just going to place it right around the back of my neck here, just so that I don't have to bend down and get it in a moment, and it's within easy reach. So finding a comfortable way to stand, think about maybe the big toes being in alignment here, so find your good posture, maybe moving forward and back and side to side a little bit. Maybe hips, knees, and toes track in this alignment. Keeping knees soft, maybe tailbone soft, belly buttoning, and just relax through the shoulders here. Good. I'm just going to breathe and expand that rib cage as I inhale and exhale. You can keep eyes open and closed. Just beginning to settle in. From here, when you're ready, big inhale, reach up overhead, nice and tall. Turn the palms away from you. Grow taller from crown to tail as you press down that air. We're going to go through that again. So big inhale, reach up, nice and tall. Turning the palms away from you. Growing again, taller from crown to tail as you bring the arms down. And let's just bring the hands back into heart center. Creating an intention for this practice. What would you like to give or receive? Maybe you'd like to dedicate this practice to someone or something. For me today, I'm just in this real high vibration. I feel like good things are going to happen to me today. Like I'm feeling really lucky. So that's going to be my mantra, my intention that good things will happen, just being lucky. And then from here, whenever you're ready, we'll carefully take the arms back up overhead and again, growing taller once more. Good. So now we're going to take our strap. Good. And we're just going to open the shoulders a little bit here. So I'm just going to kind of come, so as you can see, I'm wider than the width of my body here, but I'm tugging on this strap. So from here, I'm just going to take it up. When I take it up, I'm going to take it slightly behind my head. So I'll show you this from a different view. So I don't want my chest to pop out here. So you want to take that rib cage in and just kind of feel that. My tailbone is still relaxed. My knees are still relaxed. And then I'm just going to bring that back. And we'll go again. And we'll start to move here, going at your pace, your range of motion. So your range of motion might not look like my range of motion. And I'm going to keep mine pretty easy today. So I'm not going to take my strap all the way back to the top of the hips, but you might be able to or want to today, and that's fine. So now as you take, the next time you take your strap and arms back, find your sweet spot, which might not be your full range of motion. It might be somewhere right before that. And just breathe and expand here. Feeling that nice opening. And then from here, big inhale, exhale, we'll take that back up and we'll come down. Good. We'll use this for a nice, gentle side stretch here too. So I'm going to come up. My strap is over my head. I'm still got a wide grip here on my straps. And then from here, I'm just going to go over to my left. I'm pressing through my right side, Be mindful, did you roll forward when you went to the side? Can you think about shoulders and hips being in a little bit more alignment here? Breathe and expand the rib cage. And then from here, use your obliques, your side abs to come all the way back up. We'll go again on the other side. So big inhale, exhale. Now I'm coming over to my right. I'm trying to be mindful about shoulders and hips being in alignment. I'm pressing through my opposite side. I'm breathing and expanding my rib cage here. Good. So for those of you that are just joining or watching this recording, I could not get my AirPods to work, but the show must go on. So I'm just talking really loud today. Good. And we'll come all the way up and we'll take that down. Good. Now keep this strap handy. We'll come back to it more towards the end of class. I'm just going to put it to the side. Good. So from here, I'm going to come in just a little bit closer with my feet. So a little bit more hip width apart, so it's a little bit wider just there. And I'm just going to come up, and then I'm just going to kind of get a gentle roll down. So showing from this, I'm keeping a relatively flat spine here as I just bend. And then I'm just going to let myself kind of press through, come up, maybe a little bit of an opening. And I know the diehard yin people, this is not really yin, but we're going to go into a big stretch here in a moment, and it's just good to loosen the body up first before you do that. Good. So from here, let's come to standing, and now we're going to come to a squat, a little bit of a squat. So we're going to come to some standing cat-cows. So I'm going to keep my heels grounded. I'm going to sink back into my heels as I just kind of bend here. So this isn't a full chair pose, if you will. Just a little bit of a squat. Be where you feel supported. I'm going to take my hands right on my thighs. I'm still zipping up from the pubic bone behind the navel, so my belly button is in. And then from here, I'm just going to round that spine. Nice cat pose. And then inhale, shine that heart forward, dip that pelvis back, nice cow pose. And just take a few little cat cows here. Good, just prepping the spine a little bit more here. Good, getting some good oxygen and fluid to those areas. And then from here, when you're ready, good, pressing through the heels and the glutes, we're going to come all the way back up. So before we get into the front of the foot stretch, just kind of open, let's open through the hips a little bit here. So I'm just going to take a leg out and take a leg out. Good. Now, if you need a little bit more stability here because maybe balance is not really good today, remember you can always come up against a wall or a sturdy piece of furniture to help you. Good. And then maybe just take, the leg forward and back, side to side. Good. I should have said side to side first because that's what we did. This is forward and back. Good. Good. And then the other side. Let's kind of sweep it out to the side. Good. And then we'll go forward and back. Good. Okay. Coming into the tops of the feet. So for this one, I'll show a side view as well. So I'm going to do my right leg first or foot first because that's the side that's facing you when I turn this way. So make sure your stable leg is indeed stable. So think about the heel, think about the ball of the foot, think about the nice hip, keep a little micro bend in that knee. I'm just going to take my right foot back and I'm just going to kind of just let that kind of settle down here. Now, you want to try not to let I'll show you this way. You want to try not to let the ankle go out to the side here or here. You want to think about that nice alignment again. So you're moving through center. Good. And how far back you take it is dependent on you and what you can or can't do. So some people, this is enough. This gets intense very quickly in the front of the foot. You also might feel this in the front of that shin. Some people are okay taking this just a little bit deeper. Maybe you bend a little bit. For me, this makes it deeper. For other people, not so much. So kind of play with what works for you. I'm still breathing here. Good, and we'll come up, and I'm just gonna roll that ankle around in one direction and the other. Also a sneaky way to do a balance challenge here, because you're standing on one foot. Good. So I'm just gonna turn around to the other side now. We'll get the left foot. So from here, I'm just gonna take that left foot back. Again, be mindful. You want your hip, knee, toes, ankle to track in that alignment. So you don't want your heels or ankles to go out to one side or the other. So find that. And for some of us, that might take some practice. Good. You can bend a little bit here if you need to. I'm breathing through it. I'm expanding that rib cage. And even though this is an active stretch on that foot and maybe the lower leg and ankle, where else in the body right now could you find to soften? You need to soften the face, the shoulders, the low back. Good, and then from here, we'll take this up, just roll that ankle around. And in the opposite direction. Good, okay. We're gonna come to our first official yin pose, and this is gonna be a dangle. So I'm just gonna bring in some blocks here to show you some modifications in case you need that. Some of you won't need it, but I'm gonna take my feet maybe slightly wider than hip width apart, just so that I have a good base of support, because you're gonna be here for a little bit. So from here, just to come in the dangle, you can come into this by bending the knees, just coming here, that's what you need to do. Some of you can do a more Pilates roll down, nodding the chin, zipping up, peeling down one vertebrae at a time until you find your limit. Good. So you do want to have a little bit of a bend in the knees here, however way that you chose to come. Now for me, my hands can touch the floor, and I can kind of go a little bit beyond that. Some people not so much, so maybe you need a block or a cushion here to have a little bit of support. Some of you might like or want maybe a little bit of a head support here, so I've kind of just built my blocks for that. There's nothing wrong with that. That feels good to some people, especially if you are someone where it's not good for you to just have your head just kind of hanging free here. So these are just some options that you can take. You don't have to take them. They're just there if you want them. But we're going to try and be here for a couple minutes. So make sure you are where you need to be. And we'll just be right here. Now remember, this is still an active pose here. So even though this is a nice low back stretch, you're getting into the back body here. Be active in your feet. So can you still think about pressing evenly into big toe and pinky toe mounds? Into both sides of the heels? Are you collapsing through the inner arches? If you are, can you press a little bit more to the outer edges of the feet? Again, where could you soften? Belly button is still in. Now as you breathe and just be here, notice what happens in your body, whole body experience, the longer you're here. Expand that back body as you breathe. Good, and then from here, whenever you're ready. So we're gonna start to come out of here. So different ways to come out. Remember, you've been here for a little bit. So gently just let the head shake yes. Gently let the head shake no. And then from here, I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to take my hands to my thighs. Maybe I need to pause a little bit here on the way back up. And then I'm going to come all the way back up to standing. Now notice how you feel in both the back and front of the body. It should feel a little bit more different than when you started. So from here, we're going to go into that Velocima Squat. So I will show you the full, or at least the full that I can do, which is these days with the block. And then I'll show you a couple other modifications if squatting deep is not for you. So I'm going to have that block handy. Remember, you can always use a couple blocks. You don't have to just use one. I'm going to take my legs out wider here. Hips, knees, and toes are turning out away from the body. You're in that external rotation of the hip. My heels are going to stay grounded. And then I'm just going to come to a squat here. Now, this is kind of a halfway point here. This is where you decide I shouldn't go any deeper than this, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So those of you that shouldn't go any deeper than this, you can come up out of here for just a moment. I realized with that squat that my feet were a little bit wider, so I just brought them in. Good. Now I'm going to settle here just for a moment, and I'm just going to kind of rock side to side. I know that I cannot maintain this squat for 3 minutes, so I'm going to bring this block in here. Okay? Good. Now, you want your heels to be grounded. So if your heels can't be grounded, you can do one of the modifications I'm getting ready to show you, or you can take your legs out wider until they're grounded, or take one of your blankets and roll that up if you need to and stick under there so that they're supported. If your heels are off the ground here, you're going to put a lot of unnecessary strain on your knee and risk injuries. So you want your heels to be in a place where they're grounded. So this is basically the full Velocima squat here, okay? To come out, if you need to come out early, just take your hands down, kind of lean forward a little bit and come out. Those of you that need a little bit of a modification, maybe you're just gonna squat like this because this is all you can do today and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Some of you are gonna come up against a wall or a steady piece of furniture and have that support. And it's possible that you, with that support, you can squat a little bit deeper because you don't have that fear of falling forward or falling back now. You got that support, okay? So those are options for you. Other than that, pick your option. And we'll come into this for 3 juicy minutes. Good. Now, the longer you're here, the harder this becomes. As it should. So notice what happens. Notice what wants to release. Come back to that intention. So for me, that intention is good luck today. Just high vibration and happiness. Maybe your intention is something else, and that's okay too. Wherever you are, reconnect with that breath. Breathe and expand. You're still zipping up from the pubic bone behind the navel. Belly button isn't. Even if you're on a prop, that doesn't mean that we just let things go. You're still very active here. In fact, I might change the height of this block here in just a moment. So as with any big hip opener, pain, numbness, tingling, burning, not normal sensations. So if you experience any of those sensations, we've gone too far, and I will ask that you either back off or come out completely. Okay, so we're coming up on the halfway point. So for me, I'm just going to take my block now to the lowest setting. Remember, each block has 3 different settings, 3 different heights. So I have not done this one in a while, or at least not yin style. I am experiencing that. I'm also experiencing something really great here. It's just good to be back in this pose. Now that doesn't mean that it's easy. Doesn't mean that's easy. It's just good to be back in this pose. But after a week off of teaching live classes, it's just good to be back here anyway. So thank you for joining me. We're coming up on the final 30 seconds here. And we've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So from here, remember, come out of it carefully. I'm just going to take my hands down. I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to lengthen those legs, and they're going to feel so good that they're lengthened. Those of you that did a more standing modification, just come back to standing and just shake, shake, shake out those legs. Good. From here, in the way that's best for you, based on where you are at the moment, carefully come down to the floor. Good. And we are going to go into a nice dragon pose here. So we did kind of more the outside, we did a little bit of inner thigh work. We're going to get more into the hip flexors now. So I'm going to have my blocks at the ready, have a blanket at the ready. If you know that you're someone that needs a little bit of knee cushion here, you can stick that blanket right under the knee. But from here, I'm just going to start on all fours. And because that was a little bit of a deeper pose, if your body's asking you, like mine is asking me, to just take a little bit of a cow pose here, or cat pose here rather, and then go into a little bit of a cow pose here, then always just listen to your body and give it the movement that it needs. Okay, so from here, I'm going to take my right foot forward. Good. My hands are on the inside of this foot. Good. I'm going to tuck my back left foot now. I'm going to lift that knee and I'm going to shift it back because I don't want to be on the kneecap. So this is where you would put a blanket under here if you need more cushion. Some of you will stay right here. This is all that you need. Some of you are going to take this right foot out wider. Some of you are going to turn into an external rotation. Some of you are going to take forearms to blocks or a sturdy pillow, or maybe you come all the way to the ground, and we'll be here for 3 minutes. Now, the halfway point, if you're someone that likes to rock onto the edge of the foot, I'll give you that option too. So again, settle in. Belly button is in. This is an active pose. There is some upper body strength component to this, so try not to collapse here in the upper body. Be nice and strong. It's okay to sway a little bit side to side if that would feel good to you. So this is a dual pose. You're working a little bit of hip and external rotation on one side. You're working the hip flexor on the other side. Good, we're in the second minute. Breathe and expand into the back body. Find your intention once more. We're at the halfway point. If you want to rock onto the edge of, or the outer edge rather, of that right foot, feel free to do so. Always options, never requirement. Always working where we are. We're honoring our bodies. That's the path. That's the mark of a true yogi, honoring where you are in the moment. We're in the final minute. Thirty seconds. Soften somewhere for this final 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So I went onto the edge of my foot. I'm going to take that foot down. I'm going to carefully take my hands up. I'm going to walk that foot in. We'll just do a little real quick little counter stretch here. So I'm just going to shift back for a moment. Good. Lengthen the torso. Good. And then when you're ready, good, we'll bring that back. Again, if your body needs you to do another little movement here, some shoulder circles, some cat-cows, honor it with what it needs. And then when you're ready, we're going to take that right to the other side. So I'll just turn around here for this other side, just so that you can easily see. So now the left foot's going to come forward. Good. Once I'm here, my hands are going to come on the inside of my left foot. I'm going to tuck my right foot. I'm going to lift that right knee. I'm going to take that knee back so I'm not directly on the kneecap. Good. Cushion that knee if you need to. And then from here, you decide, are you going to stay here? Are you going to come out wider? Are you going to go into your external rotation? So hip, knee, and toe will track there. You choose. You can even be on the forearms here if you want to. But this is my tighter side today. So I'm actually going to modify it a little bit different from what I did on the other side. I'm just going to stay up on my hands. So even teachers have to modify sometimes. We're all perfectly imperfect. Practice makes progress. So remember, you are in charge. So if you need to come out of here at any point, you come out of here at any point. Remember, pain, numbness, tingling, burning, not normal sensations. We're in the second minute. Okay, we're at the halfway point. So if you're someone that likes to roll onto the edge of the left foot, then you can take that here. Breathe and expand, come back to your intention. Maybe your intention has changed. Good, we're entering the final minute. Is there somewhere else you can soften as you expand that back body with your breath? Try not to collapse through the upper body. 30 seconds left. And we've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent work. If you went onto the edge of that foot, take that foot down. Carefully bring that foot back in. Good. If you went onto your forearms, come back up from there. Again, just a real quick little counter stretch here. Think about lengthening the upper body here as well. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, we're going to bring that in. Good. Again, give your body what it needs. Do you need to just rest, which is where we're going to go next? Or do you need to do a couple little cat-cows? So I'm going to come onto my belly here. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Good. And I'm just going to come into a little crocodile pose here. So I'm taking my feet as wide as my mat, and I'm in that slight external rotation. This means my toes are kind of turning outward here. I'm going to make a pillow with my hands. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle here. Some people like to be in stillness. My hips and low back usually like a little wiggle, wiggle. So be where you need to be here for a moment. Come back to your intention. How do you feel with your body at this point in your practice? Hopefully you are feeling some shifts, and those shifts are needed and more positive. Well, sometimes they could be a little bit more negative if you're releasing some negative energies out of the body. Just breathe through those. All right. From here, let's come into a little bit of some back extension work. So I'm going to take my legs in just a little bit closer. I'm not going to take them completely close, but a little bit closer than that with the part. Good. And then from here, I'm just going to take, we'll come into, I'll give you some options. So I'm going to take my hands just as a reference point under my shoulders and a little bit more forward. I'm going to let my elbows relax down, but my elbows are in tight towards the body. I'm relaxing through my shoulders. I'm lengthening, lengthening, lengthening through that low body. So my belly button is in, my pubic bone is into the mat. And then from here, maybe my back extension today is just going to be this nice Sphinx pose. Maybe some of us are going to come into a seal pose. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. So find yours. Remember, shoulders are not creepy up here by the ears wherever you're practicing. You want to be able to have them relax down. We also don't want to crunch in the low spine either. So if you feel that, you're up too high. So we will try this one for 2.5 minutes today. So I'm just going to hang out here in Sphinx pose, but you're welcome to go into seal. Some people, and I didn't give this as an option in the demo, but you can always use blankets or supports under here. You're under here if you need that. Some people do better if they have a folded blanket right under the pelvis. So that's another option. So as you go into your personal practice, feel free to play with those. If you're doing this on recording, feel free to press pause and come back and play with those. Now as I'm lengthening through my low body here, my belly button is still in. My pubic bone is still in the mat. But I'm also trying to find places to soften just a little bit. So you can be active, but you can also be a little bit softer. And 1 minute left. Good. Come back to the intention as you breathe and expand. Did you let your belly go here? Could you take that belly button in? Or think thinking about zipping up from the pubic bone to behind the navel. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully, carefully lower out of there. Good. Come back to your crocodile. Maybe a little wiggle, wiggle. Maybe you just want to rest here. Maybe take that head and neck a little bit from side to side here. Sometimes we don't realize it, but when we're in some of those back bends and extensions, sometimes tension can build up in the neck. We don't want that. So just kind of let it relax as you rock side to side here for a moment. Good. And from here, we'll counter that extension a little bit with the child's pose. So hands under the shoulders. I'm going to press up. I'm going to shift back. Make this your child's pose. Knees can be together as wide as your mat, somewhere in between. You can come into the extended child's pose here by taking your arms long. Then we'll get a little bit more to the shoulder. Or maybe take hands back by the ankles, just letting the shoulders release here. Find yours. Good, and then from here, we're gonna come back up. Good. We're gonna continue to counter that extension by coming into some deeper flexion here. So I'm gonna take my legs long. We're gonna come into a caterpillar. So remember for caterpillar, some of you might need the support of a cushion or a couple folded blankets here as you roll forward. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of you, like me, might do a little bit better, especially if you're tighter in the hamstrings or the low back. You might feel better sitting up on a folded blanket here, which is what I'm going to do for this one. Good. And I'm just going to sit on the edge of that folded blanket. And I'm going to take my legs long. Traditionally, legs are together. Some of you, though, however, are going to be a little bit more comfortable if you're a little bit more hip width apart. So listen to your body with how you need to practice. Some of you also are so tight that you need to keep a bend in your knees, but it's hard for you to remember that and not lock out. So if that's you, remember, you've got your blankets. Maybe you're using a dish towel or something like that today. You can roll this up. Good. To your level and stick this under here, under your knees. Now you've got that softness and support in the knees, and it's not something that you have to think about. So just be mindful. There's always a way, almost always a way, some kind of modification that you can bring in to make it work. So from here, sitting up nice and tall, ears, shoulders, and hips. My belly button is in. Inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, I'm going to come and fold. Good, I'm hinging from the hips, and then I'm going to let my body round. Good, and my hands and arms are just coming where they come. And we'll be here for, let's go for 4 minutes today. So again, breathe into the back body. And like the other poses, the longer you're here, be mindful of how you feel, what happens in your body. This pose changes as you go on. So how it feels to you now is not going to be the same way that it feels to you 3 minutes from now. Breathe and expand. Remember, you can come out of here at any time that your body needs you to. Breathe and expand. We're over halfway there. Reconnect to your intention. Always reconnect to the breath. Coming into the final minute. Good. 30 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then from here, low back's going to be very vulnerable here, especially if you stayed in here with me for the full 4 minutes. So carefully come out. Never just snap out of here. Good. And as you come up, we're just going to do a few little counter balance exercises here, and then we're going to come onto our backs. So from here, I'm just going to take my arms up overhead. I'm just going to do a real quick side bend here towards my left. I'm being nice and gentle. I'm breathing and expanding. I'm carefully coming back up. Reach. Move my bolster out of the way here. I'm going to take that counter side stretch to the other side. My sits bones are still rooted. I'm breathing and expanding. And then coming back up. And a more gentle twist here. We'll come into a deeper one in a moment. But from here, I'm just going to gently twist towards my left. Maybe looking behind me. And coming back through center, gentle twist towards my right. Maybe looking behind me. And coming back forward. Good. So we're going to come onto our backs now. Good. So have your strap handy. And if there's any props that you would like to use for your Shavasana time, go ahead and have those relatively close to you as well. Now, I'm going to put my bolster down here because I'm going to pull that in under my thighs for Shavasana, but I don't want it to be in the way when we do some twisting here. So from here, I'm just going to scoot down for the sake of camera. and come right here. Now, if it would feel good to you to just take your feet about maybe as wide as the mat, just give yourself a little wiggle here. Feels good to me after that long caterpillar. Okay, from here, we're gonna go into twisty number 1. So I'm gonna take my arms out to the side. These will not be really long twists, but again, have your straps handy here. I'm gonna keep my feet as wide as the mat. I'm zipping up from pubic bone behind the navel. So you still want that core nice and engaged. So belly button into the spine. If you're not sure what that means, to draw up and in. I'm just gonna let those knees fall over towards my right. When I do that, that left hip is gonna come up a little bit. I'm pressing into the inward edge of the left foot. Now, as long as this all feels okay in the low back, the knees, the hips, you can stay where you are. If not, you're too deep, so back off or come out completely. Those of you that are like, I can handle a little bit more here, pick up that right ankle, put it on top of the left thigh. Try to be on the thigh, not the knee joint, and then just let gravity take you into this twist. So belly button still stays in here. My shoulders are grounded. I'm breathing and expanding in a minute and a half. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you have the right ankle on that left thigh, carefully remove. Carefully bring those knees back to center. We're going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle here. Good. If you need to reset anything, if you got kind of out of whack a little bit here, out of alignment, reset yourself. When you're ready, feet are as wide as the mat. We're going to go to the left side now. So belly button is in nice and tight. And hopefully you can anchor the shoulders. And we'll just let those knees fall over towards the left. As you do so, your right hip is going to come up a little bit here. Think about pressing a little bit more into the inner edge of the right foot. And as long as everything's okay, you can choose to stay here. Or you can pick up that left ankle. Place it on top of the right thigh. Remember, thigh, 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 not the knee. And relax through it here. Breathe and expand a minute and a half. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. If your left ankle is on top of that right thigh, carefully remove. Bring it back to center and we'll wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Taking knees into the chest and rock, rock side to side. Grab your trusty strap here. Good. So we're just going to do a little short stretching sequence on each side. And I'm going to start by taking this out onto the center part of my right foot. Your left knee can just be here, it can be bent, your leg can be long, be where you're comfortable. Let the leg, that hip settle down into its socket. Good. And then from here, one little handy stretch here, keeping this knee soft and unlocked. Find the grip that supports you and come back here for a moment. Breathing and expanding. Good, we'll release. Good, both straps into the right hand. We're gonna keep this leg in parallel today, so that just means toes, knees, and hips are facing your face. Keep both hips, both shoulders grounded. So really anchor through that left side as you take your right leg out to the right. Good, now you can just relax this here. You can do a gentle, special tug in towards that right shoulder. Again, we're anchoring through the left side. So if you can't anchor through the left side, that left hip and side are popping up. Your leg is too far over to the right. Lift it up a little bit. That should fix it. Good, and then from here, when you're ready, we'll bring that back up. Good, extend the left leg if you had it bent. Good, I'm switching hands. We're just gonna do a real quick IT band stretch here, so we're not coming into the full twist because we just did a twist. But from here, I'm just gonna arc this leg over about 45 degrees. Some people like to do this with the bend of the knee, so honor you. And some people have to move the leg around a little bit here to find your sweet spot. So my sweet spot is about right here. Some people need to be a little bit here, some people a little bit further up. So it's individual to the person and to the side, but you should feel that nice stretch right through here. And sometimes it feels good just to kind of take your fingertips and just go right to the outside of that thigh. Loosening up some of that stickiness that might be in there. Those of us that are active with our legs, cyclists, do different things, walking, running. This tends to be a really sweet stretch. Good, and then from here, when you're ready, we'll come back in. Good, we'll just do a mid-air switcheroo here. So coming up onto the left side now. Your right knee can be bent or that right leg can be nice and long. You decide what feels good to you. Let your left hip settle down into its socket. Remember, we're going to have a gentle bend in that left knee. Find the grip that's appropriate for you on the side. And we'll gently take this back a little bit here. Finding a nice hamstring stretch. I'm still expanding that body as I breathe. My belly button is still into the spine. So I'm not letting anything go here. Good, we'll take that into a release. Both straps now into the left hand. Both shoulders, both hips are now going to stay on the ground as you take your left leg out to the left. Remember, think about anchoring through the right side. So if that right side is popping up, your leg is too far to the left, lift it up a little bit and try again. And then when you're ready, we'll carefully come up. Good. Extend your right leg long. If you had it bent, we'll switch hands here. So again, this is your IT band stretch. So you can have a longer leg, a bend in the knee. We'll arc that leg over about 45 degrees-ish. Move that leg around. Find your sweet spot that's appropriate for you on this side. Maybe you want to take those fingertips again and just rub the outside here. Good, and when you're ready, inhale, exhale, we'll take that back up. Roll or move that foot from the strap. Bring those knees in, gently rock, rock, rock side to side. Maybe lift the upper body here for a moment, giving yourself a nice big hug. We made it, and we're gonna go into Shavasana from here. So I'm just kind of using my feet to bring my bolster in. I'm gonna grab one of my other folded blankets here to use as a little bit of a neck cushion. And then take any other little movement here that you need to settle in, making yourself about 10% more comfortable. And I will leave you here for a few moments, practicing the hardest yoga pose of all, being still and be with yourself. If you'd rather not focus on yourself, think about joy, think about luck. Maybe take that inner gaze to the heart center. Maybe take the inner gaze to the third eye. And I'll leave you right here. Begin taking some deep breaths here. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness or maybe invite some movement of the fingers and the toes. Choose stillness or taking knees into the chest. So you can keep the upper body grounded here, just bringing the knees in if you'd like, or maybe you want to come back into that full body hug, lifting the upper body again, your choice. And choosing stillness, or Moving any props out of the way if you use any for your Shavasana time. Good. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes. Full body stretch, point and flex through the feet. Bend and stretch through the hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction. And then in the other. And then from here, whenever you're ready, carefully bending in both knees. And you choose rolling over onto your right or left side, the side that works best for your body. Taking a moment here to pause and reflect. And then when you're ready, carefully come up to a seat where we normally start our Yin Yoga practice. Yeah. Make it a little bit more of a comfy seat. Think about a nice, good posture. Think about the ears, the shoulders, and the hips. Belly button is in. Notice how you feel now versus when we first started. And fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen, nice and tall. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands in the heart center. Reconnecting one more time with that intention that you set for yourself at the beginning of practice. And we'll take thumbs to forehead for good and true thoughts. To our lips for good and kind words. And to our hearts for open and loving hearts, knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe, may you stay well, may you have a wonderful day or evening ahead. Namaste.